way, no. Charlie Strong was the worst coach in the history of this Texas football program. Steve Sarkisian is not that bad. Like, Charlie Strong, this is the type of game, Charlie Strong, we would have lost by 2+ touchdowns, even more possibly. And this is even this is a good Oklahoma State team. They're solid. They'll probably go 8-4, 9-3, but they're not great. And we were in this game winning it for most of the game. This is a game Charlie Strong loses like 31-14. Charlie Strong was terrible. Don't bring up him. If you want to bring up Tom Herman, this is kind of what it reminded me of. That was kind of like a Tom Herman type game. Charlie Strong is terrible. He did nothing right here, so don't bring him up, please. "2016 all over again." Okay, whatever. You're just wrong, but whatever. I'm not gonna deal with you today. Casey needs to be benched for Card till he heals up. Our passing was completely ineffective. Yeah, it was really bad. And I do think some of those were underthrown balls, and I do think that had to do with his wrist. But it's also the simple fact of, by the way, that hit by Malcolm Rodriguez, we had the same type of hit with Ray Thornton. They called a penalty. They should have called a penalty on that. And I blame Casey too for that. Like, you got to get rid of the ball. You got to be able to see him and set the protection. He did look indecisive today. But we also have to realize, like, guys, he hasn't started that many games. So he may be a redshirt junior, but he's still young. And mentally, I don't think he's where he needs to be at yet, clearly. And Oklahoma State, I mean, they do run a way more complex scheme than anyone we face other than TCU. So I'm not really surprised they fooled him. And TCU fooled him. We only scored 32 points in that game. And Oklahoma State's got a better defense than TCU. But my issue is, what the hell was the offense doing? I'm not even angry at the defense other than the play calling. The players played pretty well. They stopped the run for the most part. They got tired at the end. Like, that game, they legitimately got tired because we had like 4 straight 3-and-outs in the second half. We scored 1 touchdown in the second half. That's not acceptable. Like, you can't be doing that versus them. And the play calling, again, was just very generic. The creativity from last week wasn't here this week. I don't understand it. Like I said, I don't know if to me, if I'm a head coach, once you show the whole play card like you did last week, just unload it every week. Like, you're not hiding it for anybody, and all these games are important moving forward, so it doesn't make any sense to me to be hiding plays at this point. So I don't think that's the case. I think it was just a really bad game plan by him, and I'm interested to see what he says. I do think our offensive line played better in this game than they have throughout the year, and I would like to go back and look at the combinations that they used because they were rotating in and out like every other drive basically with players, and I'd like to see which one worked the best. I don't know straight off what I just watched. I'd have to go back and watch it again. My guess is Hayden Connor probably performed the best. Topa Amada's in his 6 years, so that would lead me to believe he probably won't be ready ever. I don't have any excuses this week. I gave you what we played. We slept walk through the game and thought we could just roll out helmets out there and win. This isn't fucking 2005. Like, you can't just roll your helmet out there and say, "Oh, we're better than you. We're gonna beat you." 2005 Texas would have beat that team by 30 points. That's not a good Oklahoma State team. Like, this is like, or I should say, not a great Oklahoma. They're good. They're a solid football team, but they're not great. And we should have beat them. We were up the whole game, 17-3. Again, that was the key turning point when they brought that pick six back for a touchdown. I knew it was going to be a game. I knew it was going to be some game that we'd have to scrap through just like the past decade. Like, if you kick a field goal there, I think the game's over. You score a touchdown, the game's definitely over. 24-3. They're not coming back from that with Spencer Sanders. I mean, Spencer Sanders, again, is terrible. He'll go nuclear eventually, like I said, on someone because he has enough talent to be able to do that. And he just seems like the type of guy when he has his confidence, he can get going. But he was terrible today, and he's been terrible the whole season. So there's no excuses. Like, I don't understand. You must be reading this from somewhere else. I don't make excuses about this team. Like, I'm pretty honest what I see. Like I said, last week, I thought that was a positive. We hung in a game with a better team than us, and we blew it. We should have won, but we lost, and I'm fine with that. This week, I'm not fine with this. We're better than that football team. I was fine with losing to Arkansas. Like I said, we got our ass handed to us. They ran it down our throat. That didn't happen this week. We just lackadaisical and came out not ready to play, and that's on the coaching staff. You got to get these guys ready to play, and I think that's more on Steve Sarkisian's demeanor. He's a very calm guy, but he's got to either have an assistant coach there that can light a fire under these guys on days like this, because you're going to have every team has 2 to 3 days like this. The really good teams win 2 out of 3, if not 3 out of 3 of these type of games. We're not a really good team. We're an average team. We're going to go 8-4, and that's what we are this year. And I'm coming in this year. If you'd asked me what are you going to be, I would have said 8-4. So 2 weeks ago, I was like, "Oh, we gotta get a chance to the Big 12 championship," and then after this week, no, there's 0% chance of that happening. We'll be 8 and 4, we'll be, and that's what we're gonna be.